Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. This is another episode, as we do all the time. In similar episodes, we start with showing you an artwork, and then a short story, and then a wise saying, and then an Islamic scientist. So let us go and find the artwork which we wanted to show you. This artwork is one of the old pieces which is I've done in my own country, Libya, a long time ago. It is called الحاء الأزرق, which means the blue ha. That's the one. That is the one. It appeared in a few exhibitions in London and I think in other places also. While it has been purchased very early, more than 30 years ago. But I think even after has been purchased, has been also participated in some exhibitions, I suppose. So that is the artwork. Now the artwork. Let me see if we can see the artwork also on larger size in this catalog. Here we are. Let us see. Here we are. Yeah, that's the one. In the artwork there is a few lines of poetry by Antar Ben Shadad. Antar Ben Shadad is very well known Arab knight, if you want to call him, fighter, but he was an excellent poet also. Now, what he was saying, he was somehow displaying his philosophy about life and death, and who is more experienced and more also in engagement of death every time he goes to war than somebody like Antara, who was doing this, defending his clan so many times in his life. So that's the piece, which is called, a few of them. We are not going to be able to read all that, but anyway, I can always read one or two lines just to give the taste of the music of the poem. It says: فتخشى المنية والتقيها ودافع ما استطعت لها دفاع ولا تختر فراشا من حرير ولا تبكي المنازل والبقاع وحولك نسوة يندبن حزنا ويهتكن البراقع واللقاع. These three lines, we can add another one, which is also has a really unusual idea here. يقول لك الطبيب دواك عندي إذا ما جس كفك والذراع ولو عرف الطبيب دواء داء يرد الموت ما قاس النزاع. Now, Antar here is bringing some philosophy also in what he is talking about. He said that when you are in facing death, you shouldn't fear it, because fearing death by itself bring you closer to death. This is what the meaning is. But he says, while you don't fear death, but you need to challenge it, and fight for your life. So you have to combine both of these things together. And he's also warning anybody who is in the business of fighting, if they're going to lean on silk beds and start moaning about difficulties of life, they are not going to succeed. This is what he says. or something of that nature. He says that the doctor tells you that your medicine is with me. I know what you need. When he's checking on you, but in his opinion, he says that if the doctor was able to prevent death, why didn't he prevent it against him? Why didn't he prevent it? Why he didn't prevent death to come to him? Therefore, he is making a lot of doubts about, very much like, shall we say, of course, I mean, he doesn't really mean that doctors don't help you to get better, but he says that when it comes to death, there's no doctor will be able to save you from death. This is what he's saying. So that is the poem itself. The artwork has been, as I told you, shown in several exhibitions. It resides in one of Middle Eastern countries, some royal collectors of my work in the royal, as I told you, in the Middle Eastern countries. Now we go to the short story. This short story is one of the sweetest stories you might ever hear. This is really, really sweet story. And of course, this story we learned from social media. We thank them for that. While we are not going to be able to name sources because of obvious reasons. The story says that there was this doctor called Jim. He said, this doctor called Jim, I made an operation, a very serious operation for a very young child. This young child has one of these rarest blood types, and we didn't have any of that type in the hospital. Therefore, he said that I asked the family, and I asked the child, her twin, who was a little boy, if he is willing to give his sister some blood because of the seriousness of the operation. He said that the little boy listened carefully and took a very little time, was thinking about it, and then he decided to agree. When he decided to agree, he went to his mother and father and hugged them and was showing the closest, so much love for them, and he was showing that kind of closeness and very much like a desperation. Then he came and he said, very much like, go ahead. So what happened that I didn't think of the matter anymore till when we finished the operation and I was saying goodbye to the parents and to the children. The little boy came and asked me. He said to me, when am I going to die? The point here, the doctor, Jim, was surprised. It's only then he understood why this little boy went to his mother and father, was hugging them and giving them very close goodbyes and all that thing. Why? Because he thought he was dying. Because he thought when he was going to give his blood to his sister, it means that he has to die. Look at this. Look at this little child who has all this intensity in him. Didn't take him long time to decide to agree on giving the blood, while he thought that he was dying. If he gives his blood, he's going to die. And look at the love he shown to his father and mother and sister, who he gave his blood to her. I think this is very touching, small story. Hope that the viewers will like it, and they might even remember it. So, next point is the wise saying. And this small nice book, which has a lot of nice wise sayings. It's this book called أروع ما قيل في الحكمة. He says some of the best wise sayings. Of course, the writer is talking about himself when he was able, shall we say, to collect these wise sayings, because wise sayings, you could have encyclopedias out of that. It is not just a small book like this, but I'm sure that when he said the best of wise sayings collection, it means that what he was able to collect. Anyway, the wise saying is, talk about, it is from the Al-Mutanabbi poem. It says, إذا كانت النفوس كبارا حوار إذا كانت النفوس كبارا. It is one line, only one line, one line of poetry. إذا كانت النفوس كبارا تعبت في مرادها الأجسام. المتنبي, the very famous Arab poet, is analyzing, is giving, if you like, an explanation, an understanding of what he noticed and what he experienced and what he read and known through his society and through history. He says that if there was this people with big ambitions, with big hopes, and wanted to triumph based on what effort they do, all that has a very big price. What the price was, that their bodies and their, if you like, even their souls going to suffer, because all these hopes and ambitions, to achieve them, you are going to pay a very high price, either in physical means, in the body when you are working hard or doing dangerous jobs, or fighting for good causes where there's so much danger around you, sometimes every day. And of course, even if you are not in the business of fighting physically, but you are fighting mentally, and you are defending thoughts and ideas and rights of people, and such heroic jobs, you have to pay for that, physically and solely sometimes. So that's the idea. It means there is nothing worthwhile doing without paying the right price for it. And the right price is sometimes suffering, illnesses, sometimes break a ways between yourself and whom you love, either one person or 1 million people. If you are working, defending the rights of your own country or your own population or your society, it is not one person. There are so many of them, but you are doing that in their behalf, and you are going to pay for that, no doubt. And if you are defending the right against the wrong, doesn't matter what, that is also a very big ask. And all of us should understand that all this, just like anything in nature, as part of Sunnatullah fil Kawn, as part of the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of God, in the system of life, what you take, you have to give. I hope this nice way of saying tell us something which is useful for all of us. Islamic Scientist this time is Ibn Hazm. Ibn Hazm is very well known. Alim, knowledgeable person, scientist in so many ways. There's a lot of books about him, and he written a lot of books, and he was very effective in what he was writing. We could see some of that like this here. Says Abu Muhammad, says he started, the name is Abu Muhammad Ali ibn Ahmad ibn Sa'id ibn Hazm. He was a knowledgeable person, and he was a philosopher, and he was a writer and a poet, and so many of that. And of course, he written so many books, and he also was a politician, where he was working for some of the big guys in Al-Andalus, in Andalusia those days. And he had been put in prison many times for this. As we saying that there's a lot of books which is speaks about him, and of course the thing is that as we do all the time in this episode, we cannot go in so much details about any Islamic scientist because we don't want the episode to be long, but we only hope that the viewers will learn these names, go back in history and find out about them, and enjoy the tremendous contributions which they did for science in the world, for humanity altogether, as we do all the time. Hope that this episode will be beneficial to the viewers, and we hope all of us learn something out of it. And also we want the episode to be enjoyable. Thank you very much indeed, and see you later.